In Texas, things are simple. People love hard, and they betray for real. A dusty road stretches into the distance. The air shimmers with heat. An old Chevy with peeling paint crawls down the highway. Behind the wheel, Jake. Tired eyes, hands covered in dust. The radio hisses an old blues tune. He stops at a gas station. The sun sets. The sky turns gold. By an old soda machine stands a girl, Emily. A light dress, wind playing with her hair. Jake quietly with a smile. Didn't think there were still new faces in this town. Emily, smiling, not turning. I don't live here. Just passing through. Jake, passing through. That's a phrase I've heard too many times. A pause. Their eyes meet. In that look, pain and something more, barely there. Later, they sit in a quiet diner. Neon flickers in the window. The air smells of coffee and loneliness. Emily, why did you stay here? This place feels frozen in time. Jake half smiles. Maybe I just never found where to run. Sometimes the past holds tighter than chains. She listens. He notices her hands, thin, trembling. Outside, it's night. He walks her to her car. Electricity between them, but neither makes a move. Emily softly. Sometimes life falls apart not because we did something wrong, but because we stayed silent too long. She gets into the car and drives away. Jake stands by the roadside, watching her go. Morning. Jake's house is silent. On the wall, an old photo, him and a woman. Not Emily. Hannah, his wife, gone 2 years ago. He stares at the photo, fists clenching. A knock at the door. He opens it. Hannah stands there. The same woman from the photo, only colder now. Hannah, we need to talk. Jake, talk? After all this time? Hannah, I'm leaving for good. The papers are with my lawyer. And Emily, she's my sister. Silence. Jake's world falls apart again. He walks across a scorched field. Vultures circle above. A farmhouse shimmers in the distance. Voiceover, Jake. Sometimes life gives you a second chance. But only if you're ready to lose everything. By the river. Evening. Emily stands by the water, tossing stones. Jake approaches. Silence. Wind. Dust. Sunset. Emily, without looking at him. I know. About Hannah. About everything. But I didn't come to judge. Jake. Then why? Emily. To tell you that pain isn't always the end. Sometimes, it's just the beginning of a new road. He looks at her. And for the first time in a long while, he just breathes. The bar hums with distant conversations. The scent of whiskey and smoke thick in the air. Jake sits at the counter. An unfinished drink in front of him. Beside him, Stan, an old friend, wears a cynical smirk. Stan, you Jake? Looks like you're alive again. That girl, Emily, right? I saw the way you look at her. Jake, deflecting. Just a conversation. Nothing more. Stan, you said the same thing about Hannah. Then came the fire, the lawyers, and you, alone in your ghost house. You don't know how to do nothing more. Jake looks away, pain and weariness in his eyes. Jake drives down a dusty road. On the passenger seat, a toolbox and an old notebook. The first page, a photo of Hannah. He flips it over, face down. Voiceover, Jake. I didn't want to lie. I just didn't know how to tell the truth. That I'd already lost her sister once. And it was my fault. Emily helps Jake fix the barn. They laugh, drink lemonade, exchange glances. For a moment, her hand brushes his. Something sparks between them. But Jake's eyes are full of unease. He looks away, as if afraid of his own feelings. Emily falls asleep on the couch, exhausted, tucked under a blanket. Jake sits nearby, holding an old ring. The photo of Hannah rests on the table. He picks up his phone, types a message but doesn't send it. Text. I can't hide this anymore. He erases it, sets the phone down. Voiceover, Jake. Sometimes lies start with fear and end in pain you can't stop anymore. Hannah sits by the window, sees Jake stepping out of his car. He approaches, sits across from her. Hannah calmly. You still haven't told her? Huh? Jake? No, not the right time. Hannah, when will it be? When she hears it from someone else. You betrayed me. Now you're betraying her without even starting properly. Jake quietly. I tried to fix things. Hannah, fix them with lies? You're just afraid to be alone. She stands, grabs her coat. Hannah, Texas is big, Jake. But you can't run from yourself. The sun sets. Emily sits on the porch. She flips through old photos, then freezes when she sees one of Hannah. Next to her, Jake. She stops, her face frozen in shock, pain, realization. The door swings open. Emily enters. Her eyes are red, holding a photo in her hands. Emily, you knew. From the very beginning, you knew who I was. Jake, I wanted to say, Emily, but you didn't. You just decided to repeat it all over again. Huh? Use someone to forget another. Silence. Jake can't find the words. Emily, through tears. I trusted you, and you still lied. She walks out. The door slams shut. Silence, only the wind outside. Jake walks barefoot down the highway under the moonlight. In the distance, thunder rumbles. He throws the ring into the dust. Voiceover, Jake. Some sins can't be redeemed with words. Only actions. Or silence. Emily leaves town. Hannah stays. Jake begins to restore the old farm. Alone, in solitude, trying to start life over. But a chance encounter months later changes everything. Several months have passed. The fields are overgrown with grass. The fence is crooked. And the house fades under the sun. Jake, covered in dust and sweat, is fixing the roof. He's different now, quieter, more gaunt, but determined. Voiceover, Jake. Sometimes all you have left is work. Not for money, not for forgiveness, but just to feel alive. He places a board, nails it in, wipes the sweat off. In the distance, a pickup truck approaches. He squints, the vehicle looks familiar. A woman steps out of the truck. It's Emily, quieter, calmer, more mature. In her hands, a box with documents and a letter. Emily, your farm, it's still standing. Jake calmly. As long as I'm breathing, it stands. Pause. They look at each other. There's still pain between them, but without anger. Emily, I found Hannah's letter. An old one. She wrote that you saved her back then. Didn't betray her. Just couldn't deal with the guilt. Jake remains silent. His eyes fill with tears, but he doesn't let them fall. Emily and Jake are cleaning up the mess, working silently. Time seems to slow down. The warmth of sunlight filters through the dusty beams. Emily, I was angry with you for a long time, but then I realized at least you were honest with the pain. And that is rare. Jake, I was a coward. And if I could go back, I would do everything differently. Emily, softly, you're already doing it. She looks at him, not with forgiveness, but with understanding. It's not a return of love, but the beginning of peace. They sit by the fire. The sun sets, the sky painted with gold and dust. Silence, only the crackling of the fire and the chirping of cicadas. Jake, Hannah would have laughed if she saw us. She'd say, I've finally learned not to run. Emily, she'd just say, a fool, but one of her own. They both smile. The world between them is no longer what it once was, but it's real. Emily leaves. Jake stands by the gate, watching her go. She waves, no promises, no words, just a sign that everything has been let go. Voiceover, Jake. People don't come back. They just stop running. And then, in the dust of old roads, you can breathe again. Jake steps out onto the porch with a cup of coffee. At dawn, the light dust, the calls of birds, the smell of earth. He looks into the distance, smiling. Voiceover, Jake. Forgiveness isn't about the past. It's what gives you a chance for tomorrow. The camera slowly rises. Fields, the road, the sun over Texas.